So we're going to have about a 45, 50-minute session, and it's called, I had a hard time titling this. So we're calling it the Introduction to Marketing and Electrical Distribution, Key Concepts to Drive Your Success. What I really wanted is for those that were fairly new to the industry, so 5, 6, 7 years or less, to participate in this session. That way we can best practice share new ideas from new people and some ideas from folks that are tenured and have been in the business for a while. So again, Dave Quatela at Siemens. I'm going to play the role of moderator as well as the manufacturer. We have John Lorince here to my left, outside sales with Leff Electric. He was in marketing director, I believe, for a number of years at Leff Electric. Decided about 2-3 years ago to dip his toes in the sales water. It's been quite successful. So we're going to get a perspective from John of both that sales and marketing and then that collaboration. We also have Janet Benvenuto with Billows Electric, marketing. Janet, you want to tell a little about yourself and?
Yeah. I'm the marketing manager for Billows, and we have 19 locations. I have an assistant that works for me, and we do everything from digital marketing to print advertising to all of the giveaways. But essentially, I think the key part of my role is writing up the marketing plan, working with the manufacturer, having the relationships to plan out how we're going to spend the money jointly so they feel comfortable.
Excellent. And then last but not least, we have Mr. Mike Wentz. He's the Executive VP to Sales and Marketing for IDEA. Mike, you want to give a little synopsis?
Sure. This is actually my 36th year in the electrical channel. I started right out of college, absolutely right out of college. And I've always been on the technology side. So I work for software companies that were automating electrical distributors for about 25 years. In the last 8 years, I have moved over to IDEA. And at IDEA, for anyone that doesn't know, we aggregate manufacturer content and then redistribute that to the distributors in the channel.
Cool. All right, thank you. So we have a couple of topics that we'd like to cover, and then we can have some discussion about those various topics that we've already carved out and have some organic dialogue. But if there are other topics or other questions, certainly we want to hear from you. Okay, so we'll get it started with some of the questions we already had somewhat planted in the syllabus here, and then if we want to spitball from there, I think that's a good way to start. So Janet, I'm gonna start off with you. How should marketing, you're in marketing at Billows, how do you sell, or how should they sell to your own salespeople?
So how we should sell to our salespeople, I believe, is being able to provide training, for me, is key in the products that we're trying to sell from our different manufacturers. At the same time, I'm always going to go back to the relationship piece, where if you have the relationship with the manufacturer, it's easier to get what you ask for, or to know what to ask for when you're looking on how to train your sales team.
Okay.
Yeah.
John, having worn both hats, how would you answer that question?
Well, like Dave said, I was the marketing director. We have a sales staff, it's not that large, maybe 16 to 20 people. I know that I felt I was new to the industry, so I didn't really have any background at all about it. So I think in my failure, if I look back, was not having an interaction and understanding of what truly the salespeople need or their wants were. And I know that once I went into sales outside, the one part that I thought was, boy, I should have taken the day and traveled with my sales team. Mm-hmm. There's 20 of them in 20 days. If I took a day with them or a couple days and went out on sales calls, I would have a really good understanding as to what their needs were. What I really thought was important in my role maybe wasn't necessarily what truly was. And it's different for every different salesperson and their type of customers. But I really encourage, and I do now with our current marketing director, he goes out on sales calls and he gets a sense as to what my needs are, the tools that he could provide, because he would see something in my interaction and something that maybe I didn't even think about, and he would say, hey, have you ever considered XYZ? What if I provided this to you? This could help you with your customer, because ultimately as a salesman, your goal is to just sell. And how can that marketing person assist me in that with materials and products, knowledge, training, like you were saying. So that was a big thing for me.
And I just want to piggyback on what you're saying from a manufacturing side at Siemens. I've had the luck and fortune to wear both hats as well. So I was in sales for a number of years before moving into a marketing role. But when I moved into the marketing role, I was a liaison between our sales channel and our business unit. So I did very similar techniques. I would go see the Billows of the world, go call on channel as a marketing person. I would ride along with our sales teams, and I'd see that all the things that we were creating in our vacuum that we thought were so cool, they didn't use them, right? Whether it be brochures, documents, hard line cards, whatever, they weren't using it. They were looking for more efficient means in order to get the message across. So that's when I had an aha moment, went back to my office, said, you know what, I'm gonna stop doing these things that don't make sense, and I'm gonna start doing things that make them more successful. Digital training, creating video assets that they can then give to their channel partners to use on their counter screens or use in their apps or the e-commerce sites or their websites. And once I started doing that, I started building a lot more trust with our sales teams, and then ultimately them back to the channel. So again, having the fortune of wearing both of those hats really helped. Mike, how about yourself? Can you help field that question as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I think, the training and spending a day in the life makes a lot of sense. I know with the new employees, we used to try to go through an implementation cycle, spend a day on the counter, spend a day in the warehouse, and same way with sales. And from a manufacturer's perspective, we used to always encourage the manufacturers to look at the distributor sales team as an extension. So make sure they have the right equipment so that they can sell as effectively as your own employees can sell. And a good salesperson wants to be a consultant, not just a sales guy. So the more information that he has available, the resources are at his fingertips, then he can truly be a consultant and be valued by his customer, not just pushing products.
Excellent, great answer. I'm gonna keep you in the hot seat, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so how can us sell our ideas to upper management?
Yeah, that's a great question too, and I think, I get a kick out because like many of us here, started off in sales, and I think everybody's in sales too a little bit, right? Being able to influence and to be able to persuade are key skills no matter what level you are in the organization. And I've always seen the most effective sales pitches to be ones that were thoroughly rehearsed, thoroughly practiced to the point where you literally write it out like you were scripting a play in a football game. Anticipating objections, anticipating what's in it for the audience, and knowing what the real value proposition is of what the concept that you're trying to sell to management. And I would say it one more time: rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Whether it's somebody in the family or just doing it to the mirror, when you get your chance, you want to make sure you do a good job.
Absolutely. Janet, I know you do a lot of innovative things at Billows. How do you get those ideas, from the whiteboard room to execution through your management team?
So actually at Billows, it's fairly simple for us to be able to execute a new idea, as long as it doesn't require any funds outside of my marketing dollars, that I'm not asking the company for any money. I'm usually allowed to have an idea, try it out, run with it. You can't know if it's going to fail if you don't try. So I'm fortunate to have a very good company that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from a manufacturing side, and I guess it doesn't matter, distributor, manufacturer for this particular question, but, and we've got Travis Betts, he's with Siemens, he's from our marketing communications team. They've got a slogan in their aisle that says QDIA. So my last name is Quatela. I'm called Q. That's my nickname. And it seems like every other couple of weeks I go to them, hey, I've got a new QDIA. I got a new QDIA. And they're like, it's a joke, right? But the way that I've sold to upper management is by having small wins, right? You take these little bite-sized chunks of opportunity, you hit them out of the park, and then that allows you to go ask for more. So we started, just to give you two examples, we had this software where you could put PowerPoint in and do some voiceover, put survey questions, send it out to the field, track who's watching it, and we weren't really utilizing it. So when I got back from all those sales calls I was telling you about, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try this software as a way to communicate, and it took off. It blew it out of the water in terms of number of people watching it, retaining the information, so much so now that it's part of our product lifecycle management. So that when we have a new product that comes to market, the product managers have to work with me and our team to build these training videos. It's now embedded in our DNA, which is huge. The other example was what we saw yesterday, that augmented reality. I had this idea of how do I bring this product to life so that our sales guys aren't lugging around samples constantly. That costs money, they get broken, they get busted up, they get given away as makeup or mistake orders or get out of jail free cards. So we wanted to explore augmented reality. So we met with this company, Vision 3. They did a little demonstration test for us. I brought it into a staff meeting with upper management without them knowing I was doing it, set up the marker, had them hold up the phone, and I videotaped their response. And what I did is I then played that video response back to them, and they were shocked that they were so surprised. So they said after that meeting, can we do more? When can we do more? When can we get this out? How do we amplify it? So we're at a point now where we're developing a whole app that has AR technology for our products. So for me, again, small wins, build up that confidence, that trust, that credit, so that when you make mistakes, because I make a lot, they don't hurt as much because you've got all these other small wins in your pocket to fall back on. John, I'm going to ask you a quick question here, if you don't mind. When you were in your marketing role, okay, now I think with sales hat, you can probably answer this as well, but as a distributor, how do you work with your supplier counterparts in terms of marketing to the contractor?
Wow. Well, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, I think it just depends on, there's existing products, new products. I know that a lot of times, the manufacturers will bring a new product to market, and we have obviously meetings that happen when we're bringing something new into stock. I know this is kind of going off of the beaten path a little bit, but a challenge I always have on the marketing side is something's in a flyer, something's being promoted, we don't even have it in stock. I get sent out on a charge, I'm waving the banner, look at this great new thing, you should buy it, and then well, we don't have them yet. Or I get an order. I just convinced this person, and now you gotta wait. Oh yeah, we gotta wait. They're not in stock yet. I know it's really hard when you have a long lead time on things. Marketing, you're working on getting stuff in your flyer, you're a couple months out, and you have expectations, and purchasing doesn't come in, or something holds up the process. Mm-hmm. There's a million reasons why, but it is frustrating because now I've failed my customer who trusted in something. He was ready to buy it, and this happens more times than not. So, really, I tend to partner with folks that I build trust with, mm-hmm. and certainly on the manufacturer side, whoever that is. And somebody one time said something like, he goes, I have like my Fab Five, he would always call it, like so many lighting people, he would just partner with those people, and whatever he went on a call, he just knew those were the people he would call on. I don't necessarily have a Fab Five, but I certainly know when I have an opportunity, especially in lighting, I walk into a project, I could go, if it's not spec'd or something, I could go a million different directions with it. And why do I choose a particular one? 9 times out of 10, it's the relationship I have with the manufacturer, but also I'm comfortable with that product. Lighting, there's so many options, but who worked with me, who taught and trained me, who is always available, who picks up the phone when I call them and I have a question or troubleshooting something, that's the guy I always seem to lead to. Go to him, and that's who I bring into the job, and that's the person who supports me through the project from the beginning to the end. And I think that translates the same way probably for my end customer as to who they connect with, mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of distributors in my market. Why do they choose me over somebody else? I hope it's because I carry that same way when that customer calls me. If I have a customer right now in the middle of this panel that calls me and I see it, I'm going to take that call, especially if he's a $10 million customer, right? So, I mean, that's an exaggeration. I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying you've got to always be there for these folks. And that's really just, I think, when they know that you care about them and you're paying attention to them, all their needs. So I don't know that quite answered the question, but it's really kind of that relationship and the person that I have the most trust and the person that works closest with me.
And to piggyback off of that, I would say for our company, the relationship between marketing and the manufacturer and even our inventory control partner is if a manufacturer comes with new product, our inventory control or purchasing team does not make the decision company-wide that every branch is going to have that actual material. So it's up to the manufacturer or the manufacturer rep then to go around to every one of our counter locations, which goes back to the relationship. The manager will make time for them to see their new product, to get an overview, and then make the decision on whether they want to carry that in their inventory or not. It's always available. If it's something we bring in, it's available, but it might not be at their store on display. And I think the relationships have a lot to do with that as well.